What's up, guys? Reggie and Chris, another episode. What are we talking about today?
The Travelers Podcast is the name of the podcast. You don't remember?
Yes, but the episode. We're talking about the episode.
The episode is called College, Trade School, or HKU.
HKU.
Yes,
HKU.
yes,
Now, this one's going to be good.
it is. Well, they're all good.
So tell me a little bit about HKU, or at least the title. What's your explain
The title of today's podcast.
Correct.
Okay, we're going to try to cover pros and cons of each one. Like, not everybody is cut out for college. Not everybody. Not everybody's cut out for trade schools. Not everybody. Not everybody's cut out for HKU. Somebody. Somebody. HKU is Hard Knocks University. Okay? So I guess we should probably start with, unless you had some questions, I'm just going to start yakking.
No, go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead. Wait, before we start though,
Yes, you have
I
to
have a
ask the
question.
questions. Got to ask a couple questions to our audience.
Hit the subscribe button. Smash it, whatever you do, but hit the subscribe button
Just
and
don't
share.
break
Share this video, like it. It helps with getting the podcast out. So appreciate you guys. Love the feedback.
You know what our number one so far episode is?
I think it's the one where I was standing.
You're standing in the corner? What do you mean you're standing? What are you talking about?
A whiteboard was there, standing, talking.
Yeah, that was a shorty though. That's a shorty.
Oh, you're talking about
The video. Yeah, the video, the long, like the whole video.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, 73,000, I think.
73,000
73,000 views on teaching your children
Teaching your
financial
children
literacy.
literacy.
You weren't standing on that one.
No, I was not.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
would not have been good.
No. Anyway, okay.
I thought you were talking about the shorts.
Talk about that right there.
So,
Anyway.
so yeah.
Okay.
Explain it a little bit more
Okay.
in detail.
All right. So college isn't for everybody, but it's for a lot of people. Like 38% of the workforce in our country has at least a bachelor's degree.
True.
Okay?
I can see that.
All right. The average wage for somebody graduating, this is from November 7th. These are this is fresh information, right? Basically a week before Christmas. So the average graduate coming out of college right now with a bachelor's degree earns $68,680.
Wow.
Okay? That seems like a pretty decent amount of money.
Well, that's before taxes or after.
Well, okay, whatever, man. We're not getting into all that. Jeez, before taxes. Listen to you, man.
Sorry, I've been
What are you,
hanging
like
out
an
with you
IRS
too.
agent or
I've
what?
been hanging out with you
Oh
too
my
much.
God. Okay, but here's the thing. That degree costs for a public $28,445 per year
This is
in
where
a
it
public
gets
in a
tricky.
public school. Okay? Private school
Doesn't make sense.
is $38,421. All right? Those are like real world numbers. Real world, this is like, before I got on this podcast, I did a little research, you know. I didn't use the G, but I did a little internet search, you know, and it spit out this information to me, okay? And so keep in mind, this doesn't count if you have scholarships or, you know, sometimes certain ethnicities, they get discounts, things like that. So that's just like, well, retail, I guess you could say. I'm not sure how many people pay that. I don't have any idea. How many people get scholarships and things like that. I personally did the 2 years, the 2-year sentence of college at junior college.
Oh man.
The JCO, junior college. And my tuition was like $900 a semester for books and classes.
Books.
And class, used books, of course. Books and classes. And this was like 45 years ago. You know? So if you want college, it's great. There's nothing right or wrong about college. We're just talking about the options and which one's best for each individual, okay? So the college part of it, I would suggest, unless you're some people are like really militant about what they want to do and they're very focused, but others are like, I got to go to college, mom, dad, pressure, whatever, experience, the college, away from home, all those things. Start out at a JCO, man. Go to junior college. Way less money. You don't incur all the debt. We just talked about our previous episode about debt. And, I just can't even fathom. I know somebody right now, okay? They are at least in their 50s. And they went to Northwestern. She went to Northwestern University. Very expensive, okay? I think she has a master's. Still paying for college. She's still paying for college.
That's not.
Now, they're not good with their money, so there's that, but that's just a fact, So realize that the only thing worse than credit card debt is debt from college, from going to college. And the thing of it is, it's actually easier to get debt in college than it is a credit card. It's insane. They just hand that money out like Pez candy. It's unbelievable. They just give it away. It's crazy. So, yeah.
I think, there's a lot of different factors that play, because I do have a college degree, but my situation was totally different.
Well, hang on a minute. Let's talk about you. You're here right now.
What did I
talk
do?
about you. Okay. What's your college degree in?
Industrial engineering.
How's that going for you?
I would say the experiences I've learned along the way in that degree are still being applied.
Give me an example.
I was in management quite a bit.
Well, what does industrial engineering have to do with management?
Well,
I'm going to drill you on this, so you get ready.
Well,
we're coming.
You're usually managing a group of guys, a team to deliver a project.
So a project manager. So industrial engineering is the equate to project manager.
Yes and no.
Yeah, here we go.
I'll get back to that. Listen. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because I wish somebody had pretty much had given me kind of like the numbers, because the math doesn't add up.
What do you mean math? The math? You mean as far as payment? You mean and all
Yeah,
that?
because if you're coming out making $60,000 is what
$68,000. $680 actually.
But then it's going to take you 4 years of $28,000. You're automatically in debt when you come out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying, like, if somebody would have my situation is different, but if you approach it from that perspective,
right,
you can see that the math is not adding up.
Yeah. So keep going.
So again, that's why I say there's external. In my case, I had to, because of the way I was on a student visa. So a 4-year F1 visa allows you to study in the United States, but it only has to be in engineering. So again, like I said, different factors, but at the same time, it still doesn't add up, because I was kind of lucky where my schooling was mostly paid for.
Right.
So when I got out of college, I had no debt.
Yeah.
No student loans.
Yeah. I think that education is certainly a part of it, and skill sets that are being taught and different degrees that you can excel in the workforce, and you can accelerate yourself within the employment. So you expose yourself to different opportunities that you wouldn't with a college degree. I'll never forget when I was working for I don't know if I told you this story. I was working for ComEd, electric company. It's a meter.
I've heard of ComEd now.
Yeah, comical ed, and I was just always energetic, full of this and that, and had this big long list I gave them how they could like cut costs. I just always thinking in my brain, and they said, hey, we appreciate the letter, but if you want to get into marketing, I'm not sure how you market electricity, but how you get into marketing, you need to have a 4-year degree. And I had a 2-year degree. And they said, if you pay for college and you get like B's or higher, we will reimburse you. I said, oh, okay. So I go back to college, and I'm just refreshing myself in a JCO class, a couple of classes, and my aunt had passed away. This is like the first week, 2 weeks. My aunt had passed away, and I missed a class or two, had to go to her funeral and things like that. I came back, and the professor is talking, he's got the podium thing, he's talking, and he says, he calls on me, which is really weird to me in college, and asked me a question. I'm like, I don't know. Took his pencil and little tick. I figured he's like putting a tick by my name, right? Uh-huh. Like I just got whacked. I never went back. That was it.
That was it?
I never went back. I'm like, I don't need some guy up there whacking on me because forget it. I didn't like school anyway. I just didn't like it, And I think that college certainly isn't for everybody. It's for a lot of people. A lot of people do really well at it, and it's needed, right? We need people that are dedicated to, medicine and engineering and tech and things like that. I'm not that person. I'm out. It's hard for me to sit still in a 45-minute podcast without getting up and wanting to know, you get the bugs just kind of crawling all over me and the creepy crawlies, So that's just me. But it's needed. It's definitely a need. But the question is, what's best for you? I don't know. That's the personal decision,
What about trade school?
Trade school is a whole other deal. So let's take the same thing. Let's take an electrician, 18 years old. He wants to become a journeyman electrician. Take a guess how long it takes him to become a journeyman electrician.
2 years? No.
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5, okay.
We'll call it 4. Same as college. Guess how much a journeyman electrician makes in 4 years as a journeyman? With no debt.
I would say close to 80 to 100,000.
No. 55 to 75. So average, 65,000.
Okay.
So almost the same.
Almost the same.
And do you know what the number one trade in our nation needs right now? With all the AI, all the data centers, everything that's going on? Electricians. There's a huge, huge, huge shortage of electricians. So, first of all, it's not like you're earning no money your first year, and your second year, and your third year, and your fourth year. Your fourth year, you're making journeyman wages, right? Okay. So you've earned money that whole time. You're 22 years old, and you're making $68,000 a year. I just dropped a young man at the airport last week. He's a journeyman. And his wages, including his benefits, he's 31, he told me, are equivalent to $165,000 a year. That's all his wages, his benefits, his health insurance, his retirement account, all those things, dental, all that. It's equivalent to $165,000 a year. It's pretty good for 31-year-old. Really good for a 31-year-old. Yeah. So right now, if you were to look up, and again, do the research, diesel mechanic, Caterpillar, right? Basically big iron company, right? They make the big machines, the scrapers, the excavators, all that, right? How much do you think they make a year?
Caterpillar?
Yes. Mechanic, diesel mechanic.
I should know this because I used to work at CAT. Diesel mechanic, I would say 150,000.
Yes. 150, 175,000. That's wages. That's not any bennies. Okay? There's good money in outside of college, right? And people are good with these. You know, I mean, that's my hat's off to them because I'm not. The only thing I'm good with these is this here, just writing the checks or whatever. You know, I'm not good with these. You know.
So let me get this straight. So as a journeyman, and you can correct me here because I'm really getting an understanding of trade school.
Mm-hmm. Electrician we're talking about. We're only talking about one.
Okay.
We can talk about all kinds of other ones, but that's the one that right now is in huge demand right now.
So your first year as a journeyman electrician.
Mm-hmm. After 4 years. It takes you 4 years to become a journeyman.
But you're making money though, your first year.
The first 3 years you're making money, and even the fourth year. Yeah.
I didn't do that in college. I couldn't make money my first year.
Of course not. But
it was ingrained after 4 years.
And I know I don't want to be. Listen, I don't want this to be an epi about.
No,
fashion,
it's not.
Fashion
We're
college,
looking.
you know?
We're looking at
Just look
pros
at all
and
the
cons.
different.
We're having a discussion.
Yeah.
It's nothing bad about.
Yeah. So if you want to fight about it, I mean, we're not,
no.
I'm peace, man. I'm peace.
You know. I have kids. You have kids. You know,
Yeah.
but these are
Mine both have
questions.
college degrees.
These are the questions that I'm gonna have with my kids.
Yeah. You know, I mean, there's certain positions. For example, if you want to be a minister or a preacher, you have a 4-year degree. You know, if you want to be a banker, you have a 4-year degree. You know, you want to be a school teacher, you have a 4-year degree. Now, even nursing, you have to have almost a 4-year degree. So a lot of it, these professions, you're required to do these things. You have to have that education, right? But there's other ways to get it, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is the piece of paper, right? The piece of paper and the GPA, getting that first job. That's the most important thing. After you have the first job, then the piece of paper becomes diminished. It's less and less and less important. So your experience and your knowledge and your skill set that you've learned from your first job. So there's certain professions you have to have a degree. That's just all there is to it. There's just no getting around it. But there's other professions, specifically in trade schools and entrepreneurs and things like that. And you don't have to have a degree. You know?
What about the HKU? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the HKU, the Hard Knocks University, right? Well, first of all, I got to back up and tell you another story, okay? So I'm working at ComEd.
Correct.
I'm a meter reader, and they would like post jobs. That's all union, right? They would post jobs. And they post a job about being a lineman.
Okay.
Climbing the poles, right? And you could sign up for 1 week to basically do like kind of like a 1 week, it wasn't really line school, it was to see if you qualified for line school.
Okay.
Okay? And so I thought, I'm going to try this. You know, I got to get out of this meter reading stuff, you know. And I didn't like storeroom. I got to get out of this stuff, you know. And so I start climbing poles, you know, and you have these, basically you have the spikes, you put them on and you're climbing these poles. And you have a belt and you're going up. And I'm practicing in my backyard, you know, I took it home with me and I'm trying to, you know, climb up. And you would have to be like you and me, like you'd be on one pole, I'd be on another pole, they'd throw the football. Okay. And you had to reach out and catch the football. And if you threw a bad pass, you had to go all the way back down and come all the way back up.
Oh.
If you dropped the ball, then you had to go all the way back down and come all the way back up. So you're really learning to kind of, because that's, you got to reach out with your hands and you got to be working, right? And so I get done, you know, I made it the whole week. And they call me into the trailer. And they said, hey, you know, you made it the week, you know, you qualify, you can go on to line school if you want. I said, okay. And they said, but we don't think you should.
What?
I said, why not? This is classic. And they said, well, you look scared up there. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm scared. Of course I'm scared. And gravity works every time, you know? And you're like, yeah, you just don't look comfortable up there. And I said, okay, I'm out. I figured if these guys are telling me that you look scared up there, they do this every day, these are the teachers, the instructors, and I'm crazy for trying to go any further, right? So my determination and my grit and my willpower forced me to do things I didn't want to do, but clearly not a good fit. So the point is, not everything's a good fit.
Right.
College, trade schools, whatever. You don't know, right? So HKU, that's my world. HKU, Hard Knocks University. You know, and when I started out, I told you a little bit about that just now. I mean, I had the 2-year degree and I hated school. I just did not like school, you know. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? You know, sold insurance for a while, got a job at ComEd, and then 5 years after, 5 years with ComEd, my daughter was born. I started in September of '82, and Chris was born in May of '87. So not quite 5 years. I'd saved my money, and I said, when she's born, I'm gone.
Wow.
This is a great company. This is a great company, incredible benefits, great retirement plan, you know, and a job posting to come up. I gave my notice, 3-week notice. I gave my notice, I'd save my money, you know, and I had another job posting. Oh, I was making like 25 a year. I could be making 40 a year. And this isn't like in 1987.
Right. Money's different.
And I'm like, wow, 40 a year. Nah, can't do it. It'd be a lot easier to walk away from 25 a year and go into real estate full time than do 40 a year. So I quit. I stuck with the plan.
What?
So through all that, you know, HKU, all the different experiences that you learn from doing things yourself are nothing you can get from a textbook. You can't monetize how the best price is not the best deal. Because just because it's a low price doesn't mean it's the best deal. Because you have to have service, you have to have integrity, you have to have quality. None of those things are compromised.
Right.
Those are all maintained. You don't learn that in trade school. You don't learn that in, you know, in college. And you certainly can't monetize, you know, what it's like to get yourself in a situation where, you know, a situation that can impact you negatively and impact you in a bad light with your family situation because of some mistakes that you might have made. And there's no way you can monetize the mistakes you made or the success you've had by a book, right? You have to do it yourself. You have to experience the real world to do that. I think that a lot's been lost in the 20 to 35-year-olds. They lost a lot of those abilities and those skill sets that they never even were taught or never had. Either they weren't taught and handed down by their parents, or they didn't really inhale them in school or learn them, you know, because they don't have this. They don't have the grit and the heart and the drive. Those are things you have or you don't have. I mean, I'm full of all those things. I'm not sure why the DNA within me allows me to do those things, but I am, and I do, and I try, you know. And the thing about HKU, Hard Knocks University, is, man, you take some lumps, but big deal.
Right.
Tomorrow's another day, you know. So what? Tomorrow's another day. Yesterday ended last night. Today's a new day.
Right.
Every time, you know. But real life, real world experiences. Last week, I had a meeting with an engineer who's given me a price to help me design a subdivision, put in infrastructure, and then break it down into condominiums and townhomes, okay? So it's me, engineer, and 2 of my main guys, both project managers, all right? They're like part owners of one of our companies. And the engineer starts talking to me, you know, about certain things, and he's engineering me, right? And I just kind of pushed back and said, well, what about this and this and this and this? He's like, yeah, I guess we don't need to do that. He's like, well, if we did that, then we have to do this. And I'm asking my two guys, Tom and Dan, I said, any input? And they had a couple things, they shared. And then we talked more. At the end of the conversation, by the way, I had a 8-page proposal from him.
Oh.
Right, that he had given me. And I had two proposals. One was like 8 pages, one was like 2 pages. And of course, I redlined a lot of it and had a bunch of questions. But by the time we were done, we got it down to, hey, let's just do a concept. So I want 80 units on this 16 acres. Let's do a concept. And the buildings are 160 feet wide. They're 66 feet deep, or they're, 111 foot wide and 56 foot deep. Design those buildings on this land with roads and show me what that would look like. And he said, when do you want it? He said, I'm pretty busy. I could probably get it to you before Christmas. I said, I want it next Friday, the 12th. We're filming this a little, and then we edit, so I'm dating myself here. And he said, all right, I can get it to you Friday. He sent to me last Friday. I got a week ahead of time. And he pointed out the flaws and some of the things. And we met later with Tom and Dan. I said, what do you guys think of that? And they said, well, Tom was, kind of in tune with some of it. Dan was like, some of that stuff is just way over my head. Some of the terms and things that you were ripping off and talking about, I don't understand. Mm-hmm. I'm not an engineer. No way. I'm not an engineer. But the creative part of me understands, hey, we got to do this way. We got to make it more efficient this way.
Right.
We can cut our costs by doing it this way, and we can make it basically have more density by doing it this way. Engineer just thinks linear. They think just linear, right? They're not thinking all the creative things
Correct.
that we have
That's
to
true.
think about. So that comes from experience, not in a book. You don't learn that in a book.
Yeah.
You learn that by doing.
So let's stay there. Let's stay in your lane.
Yes, sir.
How
In my lane.
how has HKU?
I'm swerving out a little bit. Swerving out a little bit.
You do a good job.
Okay.
How did HKU help you in your personal business?
I think that pretty much what I said is drawn on the experiences and learning from that. Mistakes that we made. Mm-hmm. I mean, for example, when we do a spec home, I'm the worst customer there is. I'm the worst customer because I take forever to make decisions. I like to do more research. I mean, I'm still picking lights out for 3 families and 4 families. I still pick my lights out. I don't pick. You can buy everything online now. You can buy them out. Chris, just buy this. Just buy this. Buy this. No. I like to go in the store. I like to touch it and taste it and feel it and see it.
Okay.
I don't like them to be all the same. I like to be different. And I think that those are some things is doing it yourself and rolling it up. I mean, I've been on. What's the word I'm looking for? Compactors before. Basically, a compactor packs the dirt down.
Yeah.
One of my excavating companies let me use it, and so I didn't want to pay for them. I said, just leave the machine here. I'll do it. How hard can it be? And so, dude, this exactly. So here I am on this machine, and these guys are just laughing at me. I'm out there, and I hop off the machine. It's super muddy, and my boot gets stuck in the mud. So I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to navigate this out, right? And the earth is waving.
Of course.
Because it's wet underneath there, and it's pumping. The moisture's trying to pump up. And I don't want it to wave. I want it to be level.
Right.
So I've done some of that stuff. But the bottom line, that's not my deal, right? Let these guys do it, And I think that the real world experience is critical, because without it, you don't have, all the things that you can apply, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You can apply your knowledge, you can apply your skill set, you can apply all the experiences that you've had and move forward. But the thing of it is about the biggest advantage of HKU isn't anything that we've talked about yet. That's this, the mental. the mental part of it. Having the confidence that says, you know what? I never built a home before. In 2009, when the market was created, and somebody asked me if I could build them a home, and I said, sure, I'll figure it out. And I hired somebody to help me. When I learned he wasn't the right person, so I hired somebody else, and we grew from there. But it's that attitude of, you know what, we will figure it out.
Right.
Because it's in my world. I'd already done a bunch of rehabs, pretty good at that. We'd buying flips and selling flips and making money. So I mean, if I can do that, what's the difference?
Right.
Just have to have the right people, get the right contractors to help me. And we did. And we built our company, from there. And now it's, 17 years old, 16 years old. So you just have to have that mind, because that mind gives you confidence, right?
Right.
You're like, wow, if I could do that, then I can do this. Whoever thought that I would, from a meter reader, I'd be developing property and putting up buildings and things. I never would have thought that, ever. I always liked to do it. I would drive around subdivision looking at houses. Man, that's such a cool house. I wonder if I could build that. Now those are like starter homes, right? And you realize that your mind is expands, and that's what HKU can teach you, is that, if I can do this, then I can maybe add to that.
Right.
Again, staying in my own lane,
Right.
staying in in what I'm doing, what I'm good at. Don't veer from that. Stick to what you know and grow that part of it.
We have a lot of people that listen to our content. How can we help them make the best decision for themselves when it
Great
comes
question.
to
Excellent answer coming your way, if I do say so myself. Okay? If you're listening versus watching, you might want to pause this and get something right. You need to go and look up strength, Clifton, CLIFTON /strength finders. That is 150 questions. And that will tell you the top 5, the bottom 5, and everything in between of your characteristics, who you are as a person. And it will blow you away about what you learn about yourself, I promise you.
What is it called?
Clifton Strength Finders. The test costs about $65. You can take it in like 45 minutes to an hour. There's no right answers, there's no wrong answers. Don't try and trick it, because that ain't gonna work. The guy who developed it, named Don Clifton, for 21 years ran Gallup, right? The polling company. That's what he did. He developed this system.
Wow.
When we hire employees, before we hire an employee, we make them take this.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It will tell you strengths, weaknesses, and your top 5. Like my top 5. I meant to bring it because I was going to read off of it. But there's 2 things I remember. The top 5, my number 1 is my belief system. So once I believe something and I buy into it, right, it's over. I'm done. I'm way deep. I'm buried. Foundation's there. I'm not changing. My belief system. Number 5, in my top 5, was WOO, W-O-O, winning others over. Well, I would just I can go into a room and have a conversation and just start talking to people. Because I love talking to people. I love learning about people and their lives and what they do and those kinds of things. And everything's kind of in between. And then it tells you okay, that's a really good characteristic about yourself. Here's the strength of that. And here's what you maybe need to watch out for with that. It goes through all 34 of those. It's a very detailed report.
Wow.
Very detailed. And I would that's just mandatory anybody who's trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. I took mine 10 years ago or whatever, just because I was curious about it, A friend of mine taught me about it. And the second thing is, and this is probably more important in some ways than what I just shared about Clifton, right?
Okay.
Passion. Man, what do you love? What are you passionate about? What do you really love? In your gut, it takes your breath away. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. Or I get so excited when I do that. What is it? Those are 2 things that are just critical. I mean, Strength Finders in Clifton is just so important. Yeah, you gotta do it. You take one yourself, and you'll be surprised
I will.
at what you find. Have your kids take it. Have your boy, he's 16, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, have him take it. And it's pretty cool. Like, you know this, I mean, I just got rid of a couple things in my life that I felt were really hurting me and just becoming negative in my life. And one of them was Netflix. I got rid of that. And just too much horrible things on there. And the other one was Facebook. And I mean, I love Facebook because I love the music and the videos and little kids and pets and funny stuff. But the negativity is just so overwhelming. And then the algorithms feed on that. And they just give you more of that when you read it. They give you more of that when you read it. And they throw ads at you when you read it. And I'm like,
done.
You know, when Charlie was assassinated, I didn't want to make an emotional response. I waited 30 days. And 30 days after he was assassinated, I said, that's it. Just done.
You're done with Facebook?
I unplugged it. I didn't like pause it. It's done. It's out. And I won't be going back. That's my belief system, right? Once I make that mind up, my decision's been made. I'm not changing. And it gets back to some things we talked about earlier. The ability to pivot when you realize, wow, I made a mistake. Let's correct it. Let's figure it out. Yeah.
Is there, because I've seen there's a lot of people, doesn't matter, it might be older, they haven't figured out their talents and gifts. How can we, or what is the best way to kind of help that group?
Easy. Ask. Yes. Ask 5 people that are closest to you. Spouse, don't ask your parents. Spouse, one of your best buddies, a couple people you respect, your peer group that you work with in business or whatever, friends, church friends. Hey, you mind if we have lunch? I want to ask a few questions. And ask them. I'm trying to understand. Maybe I'm overlooking some things in my life. I think I'm pretty good at this, but sometimes I don't see myself as others do.
Right.
So what do you think is my boom, 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 boom? Give me my top 5 characteristics or talents you feel that I have, so I can try to apply those and grow those. And you'll be amazed at what they tell you. Maybe not. Maybe they reaffirm what they tell you. Yeah.
That's crazy because that will be eye-opening.
Yeah.
Because then you see.
So if I can give you 5 right now. So your first 5 would be your smile. I love your smile because you're always happy. That's awesome.
Always happy.
Yeah. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. You know, like an old band song, you know. Oh, gosh. So anyway, so happy. And your understanding of this stuff is like way over the top of me. I don't pretend to understand that. I don't want to. I don't need to.
Funny.
You know? The other day, I'm on a phone call talking to somebody. All of a sudden, Mom, are you there? I'm like, what is just happening? Siri just starts talking to me. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I'm in the middle of the night, I'm watching a movie. Same thing happened. My movie, all of a sudden it got like a little staticky. And I'm like, okay. So guess what I did the next day? Siri, off the computer. Gone. No more Siri. I don't use it anyway. I don't want it on my computer spying on me or whatever it's doing, Oh my gosh. And the third thing is you're a great family man. Love your kids, love your family, love your wife. Talk about them all the time. Yeah, those are top 3. Yeah. And you got a good work ethic too.
I try.
Yeah, you got a good work ethic. But the 5th one is interesting, is that there's our bell.
Hey.
The 5th one is you love to learn. You love to learn. I'm that same way. I have a thirst, man. I love to learn. People would call me like the driller because I just ask questions. Ask questions. I love to learn, So, yeah. That's an easy
That's
thing
the
to do.
best way to, okay.
Right, ask people, yeah. And we don't have time, that's not what this episode is about, but we could expound on that in a different conversation. You would do that with the people you're asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
I'm
like
out.
we're talking shorter and shorter. Are we really hitting those
Yeah, it's like 43 minutes. She's shaking her head.
Really?
There's
Wow.
Producer, Mrs. Producer, and Mr. Producer. That's what she said.
Like, I feel like I only feel like we're talking like 30 minutes. I'm like, why is this already going off?
Well, we've already said that. Now, can we move on?
Oh.
We've confirmed that it's
Well,
good.
let's jump into the next episode.
Next episode.
I'll see you guys in the next
Well,
episode.
I'll tell them what it is, though, a little teaser, right? The next episode is going to drop. Yeah, it's okay. The next episode is going to drop Christmas Day. Giving.
Giving.
Giving. It's going to be good, man. In fact, actually, I have it right here. What's the title of it? Hang on, let's see. Let's see here. Okay. I have the name of it. Talent, treasure. Oh, yeah. Giving. Time, talent,
talents.
treasure. That's going to be a good one. On Christmas. It's going to be great. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.